Hey guys, it's Jessica. You're watching Advice with Nurse Jessica Seitz, and today I'm doing an interview with Joshua Strickland. He's a fellow nurse of ours that got in a lot of trouble recently for posting a photo of himself on social media. So without further ado, let's get into this interview and hear Joshua's side of the story. Hi, Joshua.
Hey, good morning.
How's it going?
Good, good. Been a rough couple days, but trying to keep my chin up, in spite of the circumstances.
Yes, you had definitely had a rough few days. I think things kind of went a little crazy starting on Tuesday, I think. Well,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, it started going crazy on Monday, and then just all unraveled on Tuesday and all week actually. So it's been one hell of a week.
So obviously I've kind of met you because we're both nurses. We're both registered nurses. And I kind of heard your story from a common group. How long have you been in the nursing field? Like how long have you been an RN? Are you a new RN? Have you been doing it a long time?
I've for a little bit over a year.
Okay.
And so go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Tell me.
Yeah, so I got my BSN. I went through a program with the VA, and that's how it came about. Yeah.
Okay. And before nursing, what did you do, or what else do you do?
Well, I was in the Army for a long time, and so did a tour in Afghanistan. And so
thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it. I'm actually wearing a veteran-owned company shirt. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's fitting because clearly I'm bad company.
I think you seem like a pretty nice guy to me, but
Yeah. Well, so I was in the Army for a long time. So I come from a military family, but while I was going through school, I was supporting myself through school, singing, and so in a band, and so that's kind of a little bit about my story.
The Bayou Bandits, is that what we're talking about here?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The Bayou Bandits.
Can you take me back, if you get to what happened? When did you start this new job? How long have you been working at this new job you were at?
So I chose this job because it was a little bit closer to home, to where I live, versus where I was at my last facility, which I love that facility. I'm actually still PRN over there, which was like 30 miles away, like about 25 miles away. And so this one was only like, maybe 10 minutes down the road. And
okay.
So my effective hiring date was August 4th. And so, yeah, that's when I started. It's an acute, it's a med psych floor. So it's like a hybrid floor. So, you get a lot of psych floors that are like straight lockdown psych floors,
right?
Where they only treat the psychiatric issues that are at hand. Like patients that present with schizophrenia, schizoaffective, bipolar, multiple personality disorders, and they're only getting treated specifically for those issues. But a lot of these folks, they have other comorbidities on top of that, and so the floor that I was on, it was medical and psych. So,
right.
So like the patients that we had, they might have severe schizophrenia, or, auditory and visual hallucinations and delusions and things like that. But they also have CHF, they also have BP, they also have BPH, or, post-op surgical, or, sepsis, anything,
So it's like a double whammy. Like they're probably sick, but at the same time, they're mentally have mental illness going on as well.
Exactly. And a lot of court-ordered folks, things like that. So so it's a lockdown unit, but it's also a medical unit as well. So
it sounds like in order to work in that kind of place, you almost have to have a joking type
personality, or else you're not going to make it through that.
No, you ain't gonna make it through unless you
No.
can kind of take things,
You
a
got to
little
roll with it.
lightheartedly.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of, you almost have to laugh stuff off a little bit, or else you drive yourself insane. It sounds like.
Yes, ma'am.
So you seem like a jokester. I've talked with you a little bit. Like, you like to have fun a little bit, like we all do.
Absolutely.
I'm the same way. Obviously, my YouTube channel is a lot of just having fun and kind of making fun of the hard work that we do, because it can drive you nuts. And at the end of the day, people need to relax and need to have fun. And if you don't laugh it off, you're gonna go crazy, and then you're gonna end up in the floor.
Absolutely.
So what happened? You went into work on a typical day, and you got one of your patients, and this patient they weren't too happy to see you, were they?
No, they weren't. They weren't too happy. And so, which that's kind of a common occurrence, especially like as you're rounding, and you're doing med passes and things like that. You waking some of these folks up, even on a typical med surge floor or tele or any other floor.
Right.
Most folks don't like to be woken up at 7 or 8 or whenever your med pass is, to get their medications, because most people ain't too happy to be in a hospital, and especially if you're court ordered to be there, you definitely don't want to be there.
They're really not happy.
No, not at all. So basically, what happened was on my first day there, that I was actually on the floor, and I was rounding on my patients and doing med pass and things like that. The standard is, as you're doing the med pass, you have to do a mental status exam. So basically, it's like a mental health assessment.
Right.
Are they, having any sort of suicidal ideations, homicidal ideations? Are they, experiencing any sort of auditory or visual, hallucinations, delusions, things like that? Do they have an active plan to hurt themselves? Your basic mental health assessment. And so I was doing that with this one patient in particular. And,
right.
The patient denied everything, denied depression, denied suicidal ideations, denied homicidal ideations, everything. I said, okay, well, I said, it sounds like you're having a pretty good morning. I said, is there anything that I can help you with or do for you? And she says, yeah. And I said, well, what's that? And can I say?
Yeah.
So I said, yeah. I said, yeah. So what's that? She said, well, you can fuck off and die.
You're like, wow, good morning
like,
to you.
Yeah,
right?
I was like, because I'm not a psych nurse by trade, so this was really my first experience with it, and it just kind of caught me out of the blue. And so I said, well, yes, ma'am, I will try my best. We'll continue to monitor.
Yeah,
and,
thank you. Thank you very much. I will fuck off and have a great day.
I will try to fuck off and die later.
Yeah,
pretty
I'll
much.
check. If I'm not dead, I'll check on you in a little bit.
Exactly.
Right?
And so you just kind of gotta roll with it, and so anyways, so then no issues. The patient later, was compliant, and everything was just, they have exacerbations of psychiatric episodes, and
right.
And so I later
well,
on.
Wait, let's get to the bottom line here. It's some funny shit. I mean, she said something funny. I think. Yeah. I mean, you don't necessarily want to be greeted with your patients by why don't you go fuck off and die?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I'd want to share that with somebody. I'm just saying, I'd have to tell somebody that. It's freaking hysterical.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you chart it in the notes too. I mean, it's like in psych. That's one of the cool things about it, is because like in psych you can chart note for note, word for word, verbatim what the patients say. So
right.
like if you go back and audit like some psych charting, you will see some of the funniest like things that patients have said. And it's sad in a way, because a lot of these patients can't really help themselves, so I understand that. So I'm not laughing or mocking
right.
their situation. I think it's I think it's great that they're now introducing these hybrid floors where they're getting both medical and psychiatric treatment, because obviously mental health services is completely understaffed across the country. You know,
Absolutely.
there needs to be more mental health providers, but you know, like as just a person that,
Yeah.
I would say a normal person, I
Yeah.
hate to call them not normal, but just a normal regular Joe, when I see that someone says fuck off and die, I kind of laugh,
Right. Right. It's
and
not a typical greeting. I mean,
no,
it's not, I didn't meet you on the phone the other day and tell you, hey, Joshua, why don't you fuck off and die, So,
exactly.
but obviously, the patient can't help it. They're dealing with stuff, but it's still, it's a coping mechanism for us, I think.
Absolutely.
It's a way for us to kind of brush stuff off and move on. And as nurses, I think that a lot of us, we join a lot of these Facebook groups because it's a way for us to decompress. Just like visiting a YouTube channel or playing your music or whatever it may be, it's a way for us all to come together and share our experiences, share what we've got going on. And so I'm assuming you wanted to share a little bit about your day.
Yes, ma'am. So what I did was, as I was exiting the unit, I was already outside the unit, and I pulled out my cell phone and I took a selfie of myself, and I stated, first day of first day of work going good. Patient denies, HISI. Ask if there's anything I can do for you. Patient states, fuck off and die. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
We'll continue to monitor. And so I shared that with nurses with cards, just kind of because, like, the way I view nurses with cards is it should be an outlet,
Yes.
for nurses to vent, because I think it's a great platform that kind of unites all the nurses across the world, with different experiences, and because we're a special group of people.
Yes.
That we kind of need one another to kind of lean on and vent to and say, oh, well, this is going on, da 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 da, and
Right.
and so I posted it to that, and it went viral. Everybody liked it and was able to identify with it. They're like, oh, welcome to psych, oh, I call that a normal Tuesday, or oh,
Right.
that's nothing, or and so then they go on and start talking all these psych stories because they're the best. And
So your reaction was pretty positive from
oh,
other
absolutely.
nurses.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was 99% positive. Everybody laughed. Everybody said it made their day. I mean, it was just, it was funny. I mean, it was, everybody, I mean, it got shared over 6,000 times in like 3 hours.
Well, and I think a lot of the ladies like you too. A lot of the ladies were
Yeah.
like, oh, well, look at this guy. If I was in psych, I'd want to take care of it too.
Yeah. There's been a big push for male nurses calendar with some of us in it. So
Hey, that could be a good money making thing for you. It'd be
hey,
just the Joshua Strickland January through December calendar.
I'm unemployed now, so I might have to. But I think the firefighters got it on lockdown now. But maybe we can make a push.
Hey, we love the firefighters, but we could one up them. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
All right, so what that 1% of somebody somewhere didn't like your post for whatever reason.
No.
And what did they say? What did they write to you on Facebook? Did they message you or?
No. So I mean, there were, out of the 6,000 people that liked it, I mean, there might have been, and the thousands of comments on it, there might have been maybe, I don't know, a handful, like six, maybe six people. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't remember, because my phone, it got so overwhelming that my phone actually shut off and wound up having to restart, because it just kept flooding in. So it just
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it just like completely collapsed my server. And so there was a couple folks that like, oh, you shouldn't be mocking this, whatever the case. And I wasn't mocking anything, and so basically what happened is someone took a screenshot of it, and I had blurred out, so I was wearing my badge,
Right.
And so I blurred out my barcode scanner.
Okay.
Okay. And in blurry letters, you could see where it said St. Luke's Medical Center. And it
Okay.
had the logo of Steward, which is the like the healthcare company that oversees St. Luke's and these other hospitals. And so they're huge. They're like Kaiser. They're like Banner or whoever it is out there in the East. I know in Louisiana, where I'm from, we have Ochsner. I don't know what they got in y'all's neck of the woods, but anyway, they're huge. They're not like
Right.
your mom and pop health network.
It's big. Yeah.
Yeah, it's big. And so anyways, so someone from Massachusetts, and mind you,
Okay.
I live in Arizona. And I'm from South Louisiana. I don't know anybody that I can think of from the backwoods of Massachusetts
Right.
that would have the time or the audacity to take my screenshot or to take a screenshot of the picture, blow it up to make it look like a picture on a wall or something,
Right.
and to where it shows the Steward logo.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah,
Was it on the clip itself, like the holder, or on the little badge itself that they blew up the logo?
the little badge itself.
Okay.
So
they
I had
ultra analyzed it under microscopic evaluation and wanted to see if they could figure out where you worked because they, for whatever reason, didn't like what you posted or.
Yeah. And I mean, and then too, it was a lot my fault. Well, I take responsibility for posting it. I'm the one
Right.
that posted it. So I don't deny that. But two, I have a public profile, on my Facebook, and it shows where I work. Why? Because I'm proud of where I worked. There was no reason I needed to hide where I worked. I didn't in my post. There was nothing derogatory. There was no patient identifiers. There was no HIPAA violation. There was no nothing. So the very next day, they call me up to HR and tell me, "Hey, do you know anything about nurses with cards?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "It's a Facebook group. It's like an online forum. Where all these nurses go. And just kind of."
Let me just stop you right there. Did your heart drop immediately? Were you like?
No, I mean, it. You know what?
I think I would have probably just taken a piss right there. I would have been like, excuse me, because I mean, obviously you knew a lot of people liked your photo, and so if I'd have heard that, I would have been like, what?
No, I've been in a lot more sketchier situations. I mean, I've survived Kandahar City. So
you're like, I can handle human resources.
Yeah, exactly. So I wasn't really too. I kind of was like, what? I was in disbelief, and
you're like, do you want to join? I can.
Yeah, I was like, am I getting a promotion or something? Like for shouting out the hospital or something. I mean, like, I didn't even say the hospital's name in the post.
Yeah, you're like, heck yeah, I know nurses with cards.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? And so then the HR director and the CNO pulled out a piece of paper, and it was like this super pixelated, giant blown up picture of my badge.
Oh,
and in backwards writing, it said St. Luke's, and it had the S for Steward, like the logo. And so basically, they said that somebody from Massachusetts had sent this in and reported me, and they weren't happy about it.
So they sent you back to work, or they made you?
No. So then they said that they're going to talk amongst themselves, and they're going to come up with a recommendation. Because it didn't just get sent to them. They said it got sent all the way up the flagpole.
Right.
I was like, all right. So I said, look, I'm be honest. I don't want to go the rest of my day worrying if I'm going to get fired. So, the sooner that y'all, discuss amongst yourselves, what the outcome of this is going to be, I'd like to know. So, that way I can have a contingency, and so like 5 minutes later, they come down and they pull me into my manager's office this time. And they're like, Josh, just relax, sit down. We're not going to fire you. we've decided to, let this be a lesson learned. You violated our social media policy because you used our logo uh, on this thing, whatever the case. Just consider it a lesson learned. No harm, no foul. We're just going to drop
Okay.
it. I'm like,
Okay.
all right, cool. So then, I go through the rest of the day, and then around like 4 o'clock, well, it was about 3:55, right before 4, I get another call saying to go up to HR, and they said that they submitted their recommendation all the way up to corporate, and corporate overrode their decision, and they're going to have to proceed with terminating me.
So
And
this was how many hours later was this?
4.
4 hours. Okay.
4. Yeah.
So
And so this was, and this is the actual thing. And so, like, I don't know if you can see it, but it says Josh posted on Nurses with Cards Facebook page regarding something a patient said, and posted a picture of himself. In this picture, it showed his badge, therefore it was known where he worked. And so there was no verbal, there was no first written, second written. This was a final written warning. Nobody had ever said anything to me. I mean, all this happened within a matter of 12 hours,
right.
of the initial post even going up. And so then they sent me a copy of their policy along with it. And,
What
it
does
talks.
what does that say out of curiosity? Does it say you
So,
cannot have your share a logo?
no, it says that you can't be on any computers that are like the company computers posting on social media, which I wasn't. I was on a cell phone, and then obviously it says that workforce members must not post material that is defamatory, harassing, or discriminatory regarding another person or entity, including Steward Healthcare System and its parent subsidiaries and affiliates. Defamatory statements include postings that are untrue and likely to harm the reputation of the person or entity being described, including false statements that a person or entity has done something unlawful or unethical. So even with this
Right.
bullshit social media policy that they gave me, I still didn't do anything wrong according to this social media policy that's in their manual, because I didn't defame the hospital. I didn't say one thing about the hospital. I didn't say anything that, oh, this place is horrible. The staff here is horrible. There's no resources here. Oh, I had to run downstairs to, find a Foley kit. I mean, med rooms are not, I didn't say anything like that,
Right. You weren't
and
talking bad about the hospital.
No,
right.
not at all.
If anything, you're proud to work and have a job and proud to be where you're at,
Absolutely.
But what I want to get to is the root of the problem here. And I think the root of the problem here is, why would anybody want to not support their fellow nurse or their somebody that we share a field with, somebody that can relate and know what we go through on a daily basis? Why would somebody want to harm somebody and get them possibly to lose their job?
I don't know. That's kind of been something I've thought of, because the person that reported me, I'm at the point, at first I was pissed, I was angry, I was like, I thought to myself, well, you know what? It's my fault regardless, because I'm the one that posted it, but nonetheless, for someone to be so petty,
right,
and take something that, someone could have sent me a personal message, and I would have been like, hey, I understand, da da da, but someone to be so petty and report something that there was absolutely zero violation with, zero forms of defamation towards the corporation or to the medical facility,
right,
zero anything, just someone saying, hey, a patient told me to fuck off and die.
Now, I know that you can't, or you probably shouldn't say who reported you, but did you find out who it was?
No, they wouldn't tell me. They wouldn't tell me. Now, I've had a lot of people tell me that I should get it subpoenaed, and find the person that did that. But, at this point, instead of just being angry at the person, I honestly, I just feel sorry for them.
Right.
because you know, you must have a really, really, really crappy life and have just to pretty much ruin somebody else's livelihood. You know, I have a family, I have kids, you know, I got, you know, bills, I have, you know, it wasn't just hurting me. You know, it was, now I have to worry about benefits for my children. You know, I have to luckily I have a second income, you know, that'll help float me, but that doesn't come with benefits. You know, that
Right.
doesn't come with different things like that. You know, whereas and not to mention, I'm proud to be an RN. You know, I've worked hard for it. You know, I it's just it's mind-boggling. You know how the person that reported it has a really shitty life, pretty much.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that the reason that there's so many of us that are outraged about this is because this is one of our worst fears. Like, I
Yeah.
think as a nurse, like this is something that scares you. It's, you know, I also do a lot of postings and things like that, and it it frightens me because there are people out there that are just mean, you know, just
Yeah.
downright mean. And I think anybody is scared to lose their job over social media or something silly
Well,
like that. Like it's just, and then to see
there's
it happen to somebody, to see that it really happened, like
yeah.
is that's the part that's like you always hear about it, like it could happen,
Oh
you know.
yeah, it definitely happened.
Yeah, and then you see an example and you see that it's affected somebody, and it really really is scary, you know, and it makes people think, well, shoot, should I not
Well,
be
you know,
online? Should I not
I'm
tell anybody I'm a nurse? Like it
I'm the
changes the way people think about things.
yeah, and you know, see, like me, I'm a very straight shooter. You know, that's just the way, you know, my mom and my daddy raised me. You know, I just kind of say it how it is. You know, like the old phrase, I call a spade a spade. You know,
Hmm.
and especially for a male, you know, in a predominantly dominated female field,
Right.
you know, male nurses are already uh, like I want to say like predisposed to being mindful and kind of being fearful of the fact that there's so many sexual harassment
Right.
uh, issues that go on in the medical facility that you could say something, you know, call somebody darling, because just how you talk, you know,
And they say
uh,
me too.
yeah,
Hashtag me me.
exactly. So then being a male, you already have to watch your ass
Yeah.
because, you know, anything that you say can already be misconstrued if somebody doesn't, you know, having a bad day or somebody. I mean, I've heard of other, you know, male nurses that are, you know, um, they they called somebody darling or something like that, and next thing you know, they were in HR because, you know, hashtag me too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, so you already have to watch your ass in one way. Now you can't even get on social media and vent
Right.
because now that's something else. So it's like, you know, you're especially yeah, you're I don't know.
I mean,
It's going
I'll
to
be
hell in a
honest
handbasket.
with you. I've seen lots of pictures of people online or on Nurses with Cards or any of those other groups that have posted photos at work. And I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, if we wanted to go through a million posts and blow them up, we probably could get 100,000 people fired today.
Well,
But
there was a few folks that were saying, "Oh, well, you should have known better. You should have known better. You should have known better." You know, I have a public profile because I'm a singer. You know, I live a transparent life. You know, I mean, we always post stuff about
right,
the band. You know, I mean, it's if you go type in Google, the Bayou Bandits, you will see we're the first search there. We've been in magazines. We were on Comedy Central. You know, we've done all kinds of awesome stuff. You know, we had a song on the radio and the whole nine yards. And so, but at the same time, you know, before our music really kind of blew up, you know, out here in the West Coast region, um,
and
you
it's
know,
really good, by the way. I
thank you.
like, yes, I liked it. I was listening to it this morning with my husband, and I'm like, that's really good. I'm
Yeah,
like, I was really enjoying it. So,
thank you.
but I
But
do understand what you're saying. I mean, you still need a place to have benefits, and you need
well, and
other,
I worked hard.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody that has those initials on their chest, RN or LPN or, LVN or ADN, what, it don't even matter. A nurse is a nurse, but everybody can remember specifically, because whenever I was getting my BSN, I had never had a medical a background before. I mean, I had went through like basic medic courses in the Army, like battlefield first responder, combat lifesaver. So I knew like field medicine, triage, like chest needle decompressions and crikes and nasal pharyngeal airways and things like that, but not like the rationales
Right.
and things
Right.
behind it, like the education. And
Right.
so everybody can remember sitting at the table for 4 and 5 hours having to read this damn med surge book or A&P and all that stuff, and how hard it was to go through nursing
Mm-hmm.
school. And I did it whenever I had small children, so it was even more hard. And so I'm proud to be an RN.
Yeah.
So when our music blew up, I wasn't just going to throw that away,
Right.
because I had already taken my NCLEX. I was already working. You work 312s and you can still hold another job. I mean, there's plenty of RNs that have two
Yeah.
jobs, and so I wasn't going to throw that away. So yeah, I mean, my life's pretty transparent on that aspect. So I didn't feel the need to hide uh, where I worked, and so yeah, but it come back to bite me in the ass.
Yeah, literally. So
Literally.
what is gonna, this is what a lot of people have asked me to ask you, is what have you had any other job offers, or what are you going to do? What is your plan?
Well, yeah,
Are you going to
I'm,
continue to pursue nursing? Do you want to find?
oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I worked too hard to throw it away, and, I have a family to support, and the fact of the matter is, what am I going to do? I'm going to look for another job. I mean, the support that I've gotten from nurses with cards, insensitive nurses, nurses with dark humor, like
Oh yeah,
every every
everybody.
nursing forum, they've all been overwhelming supportive. I mean, they're just really, really fine folks, and they've all been in my corner.
Don't
They
forget about Nurses Gone Wild. I got to throw that one in there too.
Nurses gone wild, yeah. And people were talking about, oh, we were talking about this at clinicals, we were doing this. I got over 2,000 messages within the last 24 hours, and so, initially I was just going to chalk it up. I didn't expect it to go viral. I was just going to chalk it up to, well, hey, look, I'm just going to throw this out there, y'all beware of, whatever. But after 20,000 people have messaged about, oh, you need to fight this, you need to do that. Um, I'm at that point where, hey, uh, let's blow that up. Let's blow it up.
Yeah, you've already been let go. I mean,
Yeah, I've already lost it,
yeah.
I mean, and so everybody bombarded St. Luke's Facebook page uh, to the point that St. Luke's had to delete posts, and like they had to like shut it down, and their HR number was off, because like thousands of people were calling and commenting and all this other stuff. And so the overwhelming majority of the people, 99.999% of the people, are all very supportive. It's just,
I like the one post on Nurses with Cards. I don't know if it was a guy or girl, but they put, whoever the fuck turned in Joshua Strickland and got him fired. I don't know if that ended up getting taken down or if it's still there, but I do remember seeing it. They're like, you are a low life scum,
oh yeah, oh yeah.
and I
And
hope
so,
that person saw that message. I really do,
oh,
because it's
I'm sure, because I mean, if they took a video or a post, excuse me, that went viral in 3 hours with 6,000 people, clearly they have seen this, because this has taken off even more than that. I mean, this is
right.
there's like 20,000 people involved, and it's been crazy, but I'd like to first and foremost say thank you, to everybody in those forums, nurses with cards and insensitive nurses, dark humor, nurses gone wild, everybody like that, because it shows that, nurses, they're a tight group of people. We're a very special population, and that everybody is just stuck together, and they've really pulled for supported me, and it's been overwhelming.
I
I
think for
really grateful.
the most part, it shows that we are all good for the most part. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, there's that small amount. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope that things work out positively. I am going to put, if it's okay with you, a link to like your music and
Yeah, absolutely.
the Bayou Bandits, and I want to put you've got an Instagram account, you've got Facebook account for the group, and I don't know if it's okay, but if I can put a link to that "Take Me Back" song is pretty damn
Oh,
cool.
please, yeah, please do.
So if anything, if everybody out there that watches this can at least support, Joshua right now musically, that would be great.
I will personally send everybody a free copy of our upcoming record. And
I
so
want one.
yeah, so
Really?
we're in the process of putting it out, but nonetheless, I mean, this whole thing is not
So
necessarily.
can I get concert tickets one day? Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
absolutely,
be like,
absolutely.
hey, remember me?
Yeah, but and then to caveat that, I know we're closing it up and everything. Some of the folks were like, oh, um, you know, some of the people were downright nasty. They were, oh, he's trolling this, or he's doing seeking attention. You know, it didn't matter if anybody knew that I was a singer. I didn't come at this as from a musical standpoint. Our band, we've gotten a lot of attention. It's great to always have more. Don't get me wrong, but I was coming strictly as a registered nurse.
You weren't mentioning that, and you know what?
No.
That angers me because you should be able to be proud and promote your music. It's this because people have been mean to me too, and I feel your pain with that. And
Yeah.
She's always talking about her YouTube channel, so I get that. I feel your pain with that, and it's another extension of who we are, And there's nothing wrong with trying to promote yourself. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
I mean,
just the way it is. And the reason that people are mean is because people are jealous. And
yeah. And I was, because there was a couple big magazines, posted about us that went all around the West Coast region, like the Entertainer magazine and National Veterans magazine, and obviously those magazines got circulated through the hospital, talking about, my life story coming up, from when I was a kid, growing up in Louisiana, because I spent my whole life there. I've only been out here not too long in Arizona. So like my mama, my daddy, everybody, they're all back in Louisiana.
yeah,
And
we
so,
can't tell her anything by your accent,
and so, but anyways, the patients and everybody, they all got copies of the magazines. It circulated throughout
Right.
the hospital because they were public magazines. They were big magazines. So so the patients, they would turn through these pages and they'd be like, "This looks like you," and then they would read further along, and then they're like,
Or are they
"Oh,
like, did they say, are you Luke Bryan?
yeah, yeah, something like that."
Well, you do look a little bit like Luke Bryan. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know. I got the beard, I got the beard thing going right now. I'm letting the hair grow a little bit, so I don't know. I'm just gonna be a wild man for a little while.
Why not?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I ain't got a job, so.
Well, I really, really am sorry that this happened to you. It super sucks. But I have a feeling a lot of times you'll see in the end, I think sometimes things like this happen, and then you're going to end up having something bigger and something better is going to come your way. Maybe it is meant to be that this has happened for a reason, and then something else is going to be better, whether it's another hospital job or that's better than what you were in, or whether it's your music career getting even bigger and better. So
Yeah,
I wish you luck, and
thank you.
I have a feeling that things are going to take off for you.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you taking time out to reach out to me.
No problem. Anything that I can do to help, and you better keep me posted because I want to know what happens to Joshua. You know, I want to see if you end up getting some bigger job or see what happens with the hospital. So
or you can tell everybody that follows you to just keep calling St. Luke's and messing with their Facebook. That was funny.
they probably will. I have a feeling their website may crash a couple more times.
Good. All right then.
Well, I'm gonna wrap up this call and call you back here in a little bit.
Yes, ma'am. Talk soon.
Okay, bye.
All right.
It's 3 a.m. and the sirens are going on. Another rocket attack. I got my boots and got my ammo and my 50-pound sack. Boys headed to war in this world unknown. The only peace of mind I've got are these letters from home. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here in Kandahar. Most of us, we made it home, but we never came back. When we close our eyes at night, we hear a rocket attack. I try to talk